Hi, my name is Ryan Coburn. I'm going to be discussing Chapter 16, Question 3. How would you advise a female friend who tells you she is being stalked by her former boyfriend? Would your advice be different if it were a male friend being stalked by his former girlfriend? So I picked this question because one of my younger brothers actually was stalked by his ex-girlfriend for a little while. So I know how scary that can be to have a friend or a family member in that situation. Even though she wasn't violent, she was mostly just very controlling. I'll talk a little bit about it, but I'm not gonna go into detail just because I don't know what's appropriate to share in our classroom setting. But I already know he doesn't care if I share this story. So that's the reason. It's just I don't know what's appropriate, so I'm filtering. So she did text him for a while. She texted him, she called him, he blocked her on the phone. She had his brother. She had her brother. I'm really struggling with pronouns today, guys. I'm sorry. Um, call him and text him as well, and even send him some pretty explicit pictures. I thought that was weird. Why are you having your brother send those pictures? Gross. Um, disturbing that alone. And then she blocked the brother. He blocked the brother, of course, too. And then she started contacting him on social media and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, all the places. He blocked and went private there. And then she didn't stop there. He had actually just moved back home with my mom. And so she didn't know where he lived anymore. And that was purely coincidental. He didn't know she was going to behave like this when he broke up with her. But she reached out to me and a couple of family members and said, "Hey, I'm worried about Alex. I can't get a hold of him. Um, I'm worried about him. Do you know where he lives so I can go check on him?" And not everyone knew that he'd broken up yet. And so, like, distant family members still didn't know. And so they fortunately had the good sense to check in with him and say, "Hey, she's asking about you. Do you want her to know where you live?" And nobody fell for it. So that was good news. Sorry, it's freezing in here, so I'm kind of always out of breath. I'm trying to get this done fast. Um, so hold on, let me pause for a second. Ultimately, she was trying to manipulate him and harass him, and if you know more of the details, you'd understand how controlling and manipulative she was being, and it was scary. But the advice I would give, back to the question, would be not very different for my male and female friends. I want them to both to be extra cautious in those situations. I might give a little more extra attention and care to a female friend than a male friend, just because I know statistically they're often in more danger. I think I said female instead of a male friend. I'd give them more attention. I might have gotten it reversed. But there's a lot of things you can do as far as cyber stalking. You can go private on your social media and make sure to block them and block their phone numbers as well. Um, it could have been a lot scarier had she known where he lived, because I don't know. I won't go into it. Um, make sure your family members know what's going on so they know to check in on you. Um, and when you leave the house, probably make sure that someone knows where you're going. You tell your roommate, "Hey, I'm actually going to the grocery store. I'm going to be back at such and such time." That way they know if you're not back in, an hour. They know to call and check on you and make sure you're okay. Me and one of my female friends have a similar system. If she comes and visits my house, when she leaves, I walk her out to her car, make sure she gets there safe, and she texts me when she gets home. And then she does the same for me when I go to her house. That way I know, she didn't have an accident on the way home. And the same rule could apply for if you have a stalker. You can make sure that they're not in any danger by having them text you when they get to their destination. Just a sec. You definitely want to let someone know if they're violent, especially the authorities. You'll want to let them know. They might not be able to do anything immediately. That's what the book was saying, is that stalking isn't technically illegal, but you could get a restraining order. which I would definitely do myself and would hope that my friends would do. Um, you could, hold on, which is kind of unfortunate. Because stalking is definitely a dangerous behavior and does often escalate to more violent and risky behaviors. And you could file for harassment, like a harassment suit, but that's going to cost you a lot of money for a lawyer. And it's just going to cost more time and resources than it should. You should be able to get protection. So hopefully our laws change to better accommodate that and make it more difficult for people to engage in stalking behaviors. Um, but overall, I think just the best thing to do is make sure your family and close friends know what's going on so they can keep track of you. Make sure you're not going anywhere dangerous or alone for too long. Um, yeah, I think that's it. Just make sure that people are aware and able to keep you safe. Thank you very much.